Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. This video's gonna be a little off the cuff, updating you on some vehicle builds, some projects and whatnot. It just snowed a bit here. Just got done plowing the driveway with the old CJ7, which is running very rough. I admittedly am not a mechanic or anything and don't know a whole lot, even though I know carbureted engines are pretty easy. Don't know a whole lot about them, so I need to get the idle working a little better, and it's just running pretty rough. So at some point I'll fire up the old YouTube and figure that stuff out. And yeah, mostly gonna be talking about vehicles today. Got a trailer here that I borrowed from a friend to pick up a donor 2007 Tundra for a bunch of stuff I need to chop out and steal OEM parts for my shorty white Tundra build. So I found a truck. I bought it for $1,000. It's already been stripped, a lot of stuff out of it, and now it's mine. It's actually sitting at Running for Taco's shop right now. And we're gonna dig into it. Probably they mostly, because I just dropped it off and they're gonna be handling a bunch of that. So I don't know if I'll go over there and help them kind of gut some of the truck, but I might. In any case, it's been a busy week for me and I haven't been doing anything fun that I would consider fun, but I have had questions from time to time. I've had questions asking for like day in the lifestyle videos. That would be too boring for me, but I've also had people wanting to get in my mindset a little more for vehicle builds and kind of see the process and whatnot. Very few of my builds, I don't know how my audio is. I'm not using a mic. I'm just using the on-camera mic, so it might suck. Very few of my builds, I just drop off at a shop and have them do the whole thing. This truck will be more of that, sneak peek, on the 4th gen Tacoma, multicam black with some wild gold accents. I'll do a whole video on that later. But anyway, a lot of my truck, actually, you know, for a lot of the history of my involvement with vehicles has been just working on them in the driveway and doing pretty much everything myself. As I got busier and more connected and had more vehicles and my life got busier, and then also my vehicle project load got busier, I partnered with some shops. More recently, I've been working with Running for Tacos, so they've been doing lots of work on the vehicles, but I still am always figuring out little things, radio things, electric, you know, trying different bump stops, tweaking on little stuff, or swapping out rack systems or whatever. So I am working on vehicles quite a bit still, even though I do have shops working on vehicles. So here is an inside look at kind of what's going on with some vehicles, I guess. Actually, real quick, let's do a shop disaster update for you as well. So I put a bunch of this lighting up in these bays. It's kind of cool, I think. I finally did the other one as well. Here's the GTR. I still haven't had the time to list this thing for sale yet. Still not sure if I will, because I really do think it's awesome. And my wife doesn't want me to sell my dream car, but it never gets driven. So anyway, that may still go. I got this golf sim set up now. I've only used it one time. I need to tweak on it a little bit. I started working on some of these walls where I put in this LED strip light, and I need to paint these panels. These are kind of acoustic panels, I guess. Actually, I had all my settings adjusted for outside, so let me change them for inside light. And a little diesel heater here, and then this is the next project that I jumped ahead. I'll jump back in time here in a second. This is the Liberator stove, no affiliation with this company. I bought it full price, but it burns. It has a hopper, so it can burn pellets, or it's basically a rocket stove and can burn anything that you drop down in this tube, but it can't burn like bigger pieces of wood. So it doesn't really replace a wood stove for me anyway. You can't just load it up. Well, you can with pellets. Haven't been burning every day, but have been enjoying the wood burning stove, especially on days like today. But you can't load it up with wood and just have it run for 8 hours. You kind of got to keep on feeding it. So this is what I chose to heat my shop, my barn, because it's really efficient. So today, probably tomorrow's project is installing this. I needed to get a few more parts and pieces and some 2x4s. And then everything else in here is just kind of a mess. I pulled the tent off the Tacoma to get it wrapped. I pulled this tent off to swap the rack system. I got a donor rug for the living room space here. Thanks, Stuart. Couch, everything here. This space will eventually be basically a living area, filming setup, and then a loft above it where I'll put a studio and probably a bed so guests can stay separate from the house over here. So eventually that'll be a place to sleep, which actually, that's a pretty good segue into the sponsor. Thank you to the sponsor of this video, Helix mattresses. So thank you, Helix, for sponsoring this video. Thank you for the mattress as well, and actually this pillow. It's pretty nice. So they're running a sale right now, New Year's sale, for 25% off. I'll put a link down below somewhere here. 25% off plus 2 free pillows if you visit that link. So funny thing is, I was laying here, Helix sent this mattress out to me obviously a couple months ago actually when they sponsored another video. Nicest mattress I've ever slept in. And I was thinking as I was talking about rooftop tents that a lot of times I've tried out like the best camping pads, right? And people talk about, oh, this is better than my mattress at home, or I slept better than, that's not true for me at all. This mattress is better than any camping pad. And I think back to it and I'm like, people that say that their camping pad is better than their mattress at home, I kind of feel sorry for them because they must not have a nice mattress at home. Anyway, like I said, nicest mattress I've ever owned personally. I don't know why I didn't get a nicer mattress before. I guess I've never valued sleep. I'm not really sure. Anyway, Helix, premium mattress company, they actually have a sleep quiz that they do. And you go through, answer a bunch of questions, sleep style, yada, yada, yada. I'll put some of that on the screen right now. And it basically pairs you sort of with the mattress that they would recommend for your sleeping style. I got the Helix Dawn Luxe, which is this mattress right here, and it's amazing. It just cradles me. It's firmer than the mattress I had before, but somehow feel like it just supports my body so much better. And I don't know, again, like I said earlier, I guess the older I get, the more I value and prioritize sleep. Like I did all these things, like try to get to bed earlier and try to get the room darker and did all these things, and I don't know why, I guess I was dumb, never thought to upgrade my mattress. And naturally, upgrading my mattress made the biggest difference in my sleep. So it seems very obvious, but I was doing all this other stuff to improve my sleep, and the mattress was the best. The other stuff helped as well, but mattress, great. So if you are like me and you're in this zone of saying, I want to improve my sleep, I would say try out a new mattress. So anyway, they are running a sale right now for 25% off for the new year. I'll link it down below. There's a QR code as well. You can point your phone at it and go to it. 25% off, 2 free pillows, take the sleep quiz, find out what mattress is right for you, and get to improving your sleep, because it's been great. Better than any rooftop tent sleeping in my own bed. Full disclosure. All right, anyway, thank you, Helix, for sponsoring this video. Back to the rest. We'll step back in time real quick to de-overlanding the Tundra. All right, so I'm in the process of de-overlanding the Tundra actually because I don't know, have too many vehicles that are built for the same purpose, I guess. So this had a rooftop tent on it, just took it off. Actually I have my other tent off. So the family camping vehicle really is gonna be the LX because we can take kids and dogs, and then usually we'll ground tent with that setup. This truck, I do drive the family around and do family things in it, but the kids and the dogs don't really fit. And so this is going back to, I guess, prepared daily driver duty. So de-accessorizing it and took the tent off, obviously, and then I'm gonna move to the low bars, which I'll show you here in a second. So this is the up-top overland mid-height bed rack on the Diamondback cleats. So this is a no drill setup, Diamondback compatible, mid-height. Do make a full height and a low as well, but I had a lot of questions here. The mid-height does allow natively opening and closing the panels, but obviously not with a rooftop tent attached. And then I have received quite a few questions whether the table carrier. So if you don't know, this is a really slick folding table carrier that we make that allows really easy access and great storage for folding table carrier. Now, this may differ a bit depending on your setup, but I had people asking whether you can still open that with the table carrier because it does extend further. Again, this is gonna be somewhat dependent on your bed length and whatnot. But on the Tundra 5.5 foot bed, it does allow it to open pretty much the full height, but it does touch just a little bit there before it gets to full height. So that panel does open. Let's see if I can do this here. The front panel does hit the carrier once it opens to about here. So if you can see, it will allow you to access things in here, but unless I upgrade it to a stronger strut, it does wanna close when you have it open. So that's just one thing to note there. Anyway, I did miss using my Diamondback crossbin when I had the tent and everything attached to this setup. So yeah, since I'm gonna fully swap out this whole rack system to the very low profile ones, the low profile ones have the bracket built in that attaches to the cleats, whereas our normal low, mid, and high actually use this separate bracket that then bolts in here. So if I wanted to switch to a different rack system, I could take these bolts out, leave it mounted to the cleat, and just pull the rack off. So if you wanted to be super baller, you could just like have different rack setups that you just pull off with a hoist or whatever and drop right back on to these bolts, and be a pretty slick, fast swap over. But again, since I'm changing to a completely different system, I'm actually gonna remove the cleats in their entirety and then put the other crossbars on. Okay, well, it's actually the next day. I decided instead that I would install some lighting all around so I could work in here a little more at night. So I got some lights in, but just removed the bed rack and tent, and then put on these low Diamondback bars. So these are, I think, about 4 inches height. They have clearance for all the lock mechanisms. They're adjustable. These are actually on my Tacoma for a while, and I pulled them off and I had to make them a little bit wider to fit on the Tundra. But I'm stoked to have this setup on the Tundra now, because now I can access one of my favorite parts about the Diamondback, which is having all the gear up in the crossbin. So we have that. Now I actually gotta go run to the store, grab a few 2x4s to work on kind of the back heat shield kind of for the stove. And my battery's flashing at me, so I'm gonna go get on that, I'm basically cutting in a cold air intake and then running the chimney up and out, and that'll heat this space. I do have a little diesel heater over there as well, but even though it's all insulated, there's no heat in here, so it's pretty chilly. So yeah. So the other thing that I do all the time, really I just need to start a lumber yard at my own house, is I'm running back and forth, just getting little bits of lumber. These are shorties, they're just 8-footers. So the thing that this setup allows is just easy transport of 8-footers. Obviously, this is nothing groundbreaking or revolutionary, but when you have the tent on the Diamondback, it does inhibit some of this just daily functionality. Also, I spoke earlier to the crossbin, and I keep tools and whatnot in there, so I love that setup. And then the other thing with these, the low profile racks now, is I can transport longer pieces through the back windshield into the cab. I do that quite a bit when I'm transporting 14, 16, even 12-footers. In here, I can do that. I can even transport longer things on that rack, and I could still put sheet goods or whatever in the truck. So this is just a setup that makes a lot more sense, usable sense to me. Weatherproof storage, obviously, under the Diamondback. So in my daily life, if I'm going somewhere and parked and have valuables in the trunk, in the bed rather, or if I'm just doing a Costco trip, loading that thing up, got the family in the cab, and then I'm gonna go do something else. Maybe we go out to lunch or whatever. All that stuff is just secure back there. So it does the duties of an SUV and a truck and still hauls stuff great. So this is a setup I love for daily driver. Now I had it in overland mode because I didn't have a Tacoma for a period of time. I didn't have a built Tacoma, so I needed a truck still for adventures and whatnot. And now I have the dedicated adventure truck back, and then I am building out the LX still. So still a lot to do on this vehicle. This is the 2008 LX570. You'll see some deformation back here. You could kind of see it when the light was hitting it. I brought this out just a little bit. I didn't actually. Keith at R4T brought this out so the tires could tuck in there a little bit better. And through that process, kind of got a little wavy through here because, well, we just used a sledgehammer to knock it out basically. But clearancing the 37s on there a little bit better. There's actually some stuff on this that I'm doing right now. Here, I'll show you. So the LX is when I'm taking the whole family and the dogs and our gear and probably a ground tent up on the rack, and this is basically that setup. Right now it just has a single battery. It's a full throttle. It's a nice battery. All the lights and stuff are wired up, but I don't have a radio wired up. I don't have a second battery wired up, nothing like that yet. So I'm slowly working through some of this stuff, and this has the tailgate, obviously, which is nice. There's not good lighting back here. On my previous LX, I put a little light up in here, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this. And then while I was doing that, I also thought I should put a hatch release button. This has an electronic hatch, but the button you can't access when it's closed. So when you're back in there sleeping, I usually would just get out the sides, or on the fob, you can open it, but there's no button. So I actually, before I button this project up, I got a little momentary button switch here that I'm gonna put next to this button, and that is gonna be the hatch open and close button. This right here is actually one of the up top rack lights. So it's the same light that we sell for the scene pods. It's dual color, white or amber. So I got a 3-way switch here for both colors. And this will go right up into there. It's a really nice place for illumination of the tailgate and inside and whatnot. And this actually only gets power when the tailgate's open. So I can leave it on one of the other switches and it auto powers on. So I need to tap into this button back here, I believe, for adding this switch. Haven't done that yet. That is on the agenda. A couple just tap splices that I'll use for that. And then I'm figuring out my radio, my FTM 500 radio location, and what I want to do for power back here. So in the interior of the LX, I wrapped most of the wood grain, so sort of quickly deleted pretty much all of that in here, except for the steering wheel. I actually saw, there's this guy I follow on Instagram, Sexy LX570. I just saw in his stories, he did basically a steering wheel upgrade, modernization. We bought this steering wheel, carbon fiber. It's just the newer style Lexus steering wheel. And he said it was basically plug and play. I asked him a few questions. He answered it. He's been super helpful. He's got a rad LX570 build. So I actually ordered that on eBay. So I'm going to be modernizing the steering wheel here. And then I was playing around with places to mount the FTM 500. As you can see, the cluster and everything is pretty busy in the LX570. So there's not a whole lot of room without just like having a floating head out here. So I found the bolt that fits in here, added a little 20mm ball, an arm, and then a pivot arm to a ball mount for the FTM 500. So that's not wired up yet. It's just, I'm figuring out when I'm driving where it'll be nicely accessible. So I'm just knocking out a few little random things in the LX570. There are bigger things to be done. I have ARB sent out air lockers for this actually, and a twin compressor. So I have to do compressor and then lockers, and I'll probably gear it as well. It doesn't desperately need gearing. It drives surprisingly well, I guess, with the 5.7 V8 up in this and the 37s. It drives pretty good, but I want to gear it still, so I'm going to gear it, air lockers, air compressor, and some electrical work, maybe a dual battery type setup. And then I still need to do sliders and skids, and then this thing will be relatively done. So there's still a lot of work left to do on this vehicle. I went full speed for a bit and then transitioned to other projects, and then now I'll get back into this one when I have some time. But that's kind of I guess a quick status update on the old Lexus. And then I've talked about all of this in videos before, basically the whole 3rd Gen Tundra build just being pretty dialed in. Now this isn't an overland build. It doesn't have sliders. I kind of want to add steps instead of sliders. I don't really know. Maybe I'll add slide. I'm not sure yet. But this truck is relatively finished, and the thing that I love on it, and Blaze did all the wiring on this truck, is the very minimal dual battery setup. If you want more information on this, it is on the website. Oh man, I was down at a toy drive, King's Toy Drives with Trail Wolves, down in California last month, and met one of the Hot Wheels designers who was a fan of the channel. That was awesome. Hey, it was good meeting you if you're watching this video. Anyway, I told him Cooper was a big fan of Hot Wheels, and he gave me a 60-pack while he was there. So I'm gonna gift that to Cooper at some point. Oh, before I got distracted. Yeah, so this minimal system here. So this is basically all of my accessory power. I run my radios, fridges, everything off of this setup in here. It's a relatively small dual battery setup, 50 amp hour lithium, Life PO4 lithium iron phosphate battery there with the Red Arc BCDC. So I have solar input and also charges at 40 amps from the battery, all with smart monitoring and a fuse panel there. And that is awesome. Did a whole video talking about that, but I'm probably gonna do something similar to that in the Tacoma. Now the Tacoma is different because it's the hybrid system. So it doesn't have the battery under the hood. It has the battery under the seat. And this whole seat on the hybrids is not actually made to be opened. So there's no way to even keep this up. This is just kind of lame action. But we have the starter battery and then the whole hybrid battery system. As far as I know it, you can't utilize the hybrid battery system for anything other than, you know, the hybrid motors. I always thought, man, it'd be so sweet if they gave you the ability to power things, you know, it would make sense. I got this giant battery. You can do it on an electric car. Some hybrid cars even have the ability to use it. But this, when you're at camp, it's worthless. You can't do anything with this giant battery that I paid for. I think it's 240 or 260 volts, so you'd need to step down the voltage to a 12 volt system or something like that. But this is, you can't access it as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Maybe there's been some updates, but you can't access that. So if you still want power, even though you have a giant battery built into the truck, if you want dual battery capabilities that should be baked into this thing, it isn't. So I'll still need to figure out a dual battery setup for this rig, because I think the 4th gen Tacoma, basically I'm gonna do just full build, just no compromise. This is just dedicated trail rig that'll have everything I need. So probably I'll do a dual battery. So I need to go from here, and basically, since the battery's here, you need to hook up the winch and everything up there, and then you need to panels and switch controllers, but there's not really room under here. So you need to move this power somewhere to another panel somewhere, and then do everything from there, whether that's under the hood or not, or maybe I'll send some stuff into the bed. I'm not sure yet. So that is kind of the updates on my 3 main trail vehicles. I also, if you've been watching lately, I'll also have the regular cab 2nd gen 2007 Tundra. That build is underway. That is actually at Running for Tacos right now, so I can update you on that later. But this week's been a cluster. I didn't do anything fun or interesting to make videos on, and I realized it's already been over a week since I've uploaded a video. So I figured maybe an update of sorts would be good. Now, I don't do these videos much, but again, like I said earlier, they've been requested. So my favor asking you is these videos are kind of fun for me to make, just to give you a peek inside of what I'm doing and what I'm thinking and what I'm working on. But I don't know exactly how they should be structured or what aspects you're looking for. I still think probably I'll start a separate channel that more follows general life / a little bit of homestead stuff. So probably, I don't know, we'll see. I'm pretty lazy, so I probably won't actually make that channel. But I want to, so I might. But anyway, videos like this, what do you want to see in them? How do you want them to be structured? What projects do you want updates on? Obviously, a lot of it is vehicular, which you guys enjoy and I enjoy. And obviously, a lot of you guys follow me not even to watch this stuff, just to see me out on adventures. But I'm not always out on adventures. I'm actually home most of the time, and I spend more time working on my vehicles than I do enjoying them. So this is that video. And yeah, it was a random one, but those are kind of the updates to keep you in the loop. Primary trail vehicle moving forward. This will be what most of the weekender landers are in. This will show up from time to time, probably primarily when I'm taking out the whole family. The Tundra will still be in my life a lot. Maybe it'll be an adventure rig here and there, or maybe we'll get a trailer or something that we tow with it. I'm not sure, but this is, again, more of the daily driver vehicle. So if I did start a second channel, this is the truck that would be going, you know, to Tractor Supply and everything, more so than anything else. And those are the three. I still do have, they're parked outside right now because I'm working on the barn, trying to slowly finish it off. So I needed to clear up space for all this junk that I need to clear up. But I still do have the 80 and the 60. And I still do have the bus. So those are all projects. Those are all gonna be 2025 projects for me, I think. Working on them a little bit. Then also, I'm thinking tent storage. I'll probably sell one or both of these Evos this year. Also, this year may be interesting news for you guys. I've been working with tent companies for years. For a while, it was iCamper. I was involved with some of the early development of the Skycamp Mini and stuff like that, but some things changed over there, and all of the people I knew left and went somewhere else. This is not like, oh, the company will, it was just the people that I worked with were kind of gone, and Free Spirit had wanted to work together for a while. So I said, okay, I'll switch up and try some different tents out. So I switched over to Free Spirit, and that was really a 2024 thing. And in 2025, I feel like I want to just try out a bunch of different setups, ground tents and rooftop tents, and just different stuff. I feel like I was almost doing a disservice for you guys by not trying out a bunch of different products. And sometimes it's easy for me to just get dialed in to a single company. For instance, again, it was Free Spirit in 2024 where I was like, I need an awning, we get an awning, I need a tent, I want to try this other tent. And it's easy for me because I don't need to think about it. I just have my contact, anything I need that they make, I get, and I just use it. So switching around tents is a lot of work. I got to take it off, put it on, try it out, learn it, figure it out, see what matches, what bedding fits in it, all that. So it's a lot more work to do a bunch of different tents, which is why I hadn't been doing it. Which is why you just saw me grab a tent, throw it on, and just use that tent for years sometimes because it's more work. But in 2025, I feel like I should do a little more work and try out different tents. There's so many rooftop tent companies out there right now and so many different kinds of models. So when I get in and just work with a single brand, I'm not able to try out a bunch of those other models and whatnot. So I've decided, at least for some of 2025, I think I'm gonna open myself up and reach out to some companies. If you're a company, reach out to me. If you have a tent that you think I'd be interested, reach out to me. So that way I can show you guys more products. So as a viewer, if there's something that you would like me to try out, let me know in the comments down below if there's something you've been curious about, if there's something you heard of that seems cutting edge, if there's whatever. Now is the time where I'm gonna try and make availability for that. So anyway, these, if you're interested, maybe I'll sell them to you. I don't know, I'm probably gonna go camping soon and use one or the other of them. So nothing against Free Spirit or these tents, the Evos are great. Just kind of want to change things up a little bit. And then I want to build something in here, maybe put a couple of hoists in so I can take tents on and off easier, because it's just been, I try to get my wife to come and pull these things off, or I'll use the tractor, the forklift on the tractor, and pull things off. So I want to get a little better system in here. Again, now that I finally am at a place where I'm going to start building out the barn a little better. So that was the random update. A lot of stuff to talk about, I guess, and it's just still kind of just scratching the surface. But that's what's going on with Mike this week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, earlier I asked for some feedback. I'd love some feedback on what you'd like to see in this style of video, because they're easy for me to make, and I think interesting. It's just, what are you interested in seeing? All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Thanks for getting subscribed and hitting that thumbs up button and leaving a comment down below. Even if you don't have feedback, just saying, hey, thanks for the video. I enjoyed watching it at 1.5x speed or whatever. All right, cool. Well, until next time, guys, take care.